Nothing compares to the taste of homegrown fruits and vegetables, especially when they come from your very own garden. This multi-level design not only allows you to customize each area, but also expand on it from year to year. Custom touches like copper post caps and a fountain create a beautiful backyard centerpiece. And because the bed is made from pressure-treated lumber, it's resistant to rot and insect attack. This means it will last for years. The cedar trim is a great accent and is also insect and rot resistant. The bed is comprised of 4 separate and expandable areas: the main bed, the left and right side beds, and the rear bed. We'll cover each section and how to build it. You can build it all at once or add the elements at your own pace. The first step is finding the right location in your yard. Gardens need a lot of sun, so keep that in mind. It will also be much easier to build and maintain if it's on a fairly level patch of land. For the main bed, you'll need the following materials and tools: 3 8-foot lengths of 2x12 pressure-treated lumber, 3 8-foot lengths of 1x4 western red cedar, a 10-foot length of pressure-treated 4x4, exterior grade screws in 2 sizes, 1 5/8 inch and 3 inch. Galvanized metal corner brackets are optional but preferred, some landscape fabric and a stapler, and enough garden soil to fill the bed. You'll also need a circular saw or handsaw, a drill driver and bit, measuring tape and pencil, and you may also need a level depending on your yard's slope. Always remember your safety gear, including eye and ear protection whenever you're working with power tools. Start by measuring and cutting one of the 2x12s in half. Using the square as a saw guide will ensure a near perfect cut. These 2 pieces will be the sides of the bed, so make sure they're the same length. Trim any excess before you move on to the next step. To connect the sides to the front and back, we'll use galvanized metal corner brackets. Fasten the bracket to the side, aligning it with the end of the board. Then attach the side to the front of the bed. You may find it easier to stand the sides up if you're working on uneven ground. Repeat this process at each corner until all 4 sides are connected. Lay the bed flat on the ground. It may be necessary to level the bed at this point. Use scraps of wood and clamps at the 3 lowest corners for this step. Adjust the corners up or down as you check the sides for level. Once adjusted, cut sections of 4x4 long enough to support each corner and stand about 3 inches above the top edge of the sides. Fasten these support posts to the corners from the inside of the bed using 3-inch screws. You can remove the clamps once this step is complete. The side beds are simple to make. Just measure the distance between the 2 corner supports and cut a section of 2x10 to that length. Cut 2 more pieces to 24 inches long. Fasten these 2-foot lengths to the longer section with 4 screws at each corner. Drilling pilot holes will help prevent the wood from splitting. The completed assembly should fit snugly in between the corner supports. Make sure it's level and use screws to attach the side bed to the 4x4 supports. Repeat this process at the other end of the main bed. If needed, use scraps of wood to support the bed until the corners are added in a later step. The rear garden bed is 6 feet long and 18 inches deep, with a small optional fountain riser measuring 2 feet long by 18 inches deep. You'll need 2 12-foot lengths of pressure-treated 2x12 lumber and an 8-foot length. Begin by making the base unit. It's made using the same method as the side beds. Attach the 2 18-inch sides to the 6-foot length. Installing metal corner brackets on the short ends will make attachment to the main bed easier. Once you've fastened it in place, build the upper bed using 4 screws at each corner to fasten. Place the completed section on top of the base. Now, cut 2 lengths of 4x4 posts for supports at each rear corner. Again, the posts need to be long enough to contact firm ground and rise about 2.5 inches above the top of the bed. Attach using screws from the inside of the bed. Cut 4 12-inch lengths of 1x4, drill 4 evenly spaced pilot holes, and partially install screws. These will be used as cleats to secure the upper bed to the base. Position them about 18 inches from each end and fasten in place. The optional fountain riser is constructed in the same way, using 4 screws at each corner. Installing the cleats before placing the unit on top of the rear bed will simplify the process. Center the riser on the rear bed and fasten in place. To support the fountain, we'll need to make a shelf inside the rear bed. Measurements will vary depending on the size of the fountain you choose, but the methods will be the same. Cut short 2x4 blocks and install them at the correct height inside the rear bed. Then, cut a length of 2x12 to fit across the width of the bed and fasten it to the support blocks. We'll use Western Red Cedar 1x4s to trim out the bed as we install the landscape fabric. The trim not only gives a more finished appearance, but it provides a small shelf or seat when you're working in the garden. Start by cutting the corner supports for the side beds. Like the 4x4 posts, these can also help support the outer edges of the bed if the land is sloped. Align the top of the support with the top edge of the bed and fasten with screws from the inside. Measure and cut the cedar trim for the beds, starting with the sides of the main bed. The trim should extend beyond the front and back edges by about 3/4 of an inch. Use a jigsaw to notch around the support posts. Mark and drill pilot holes roughly every 8 inches. Continue measuring and cutting the rest of the trim, and then set it aside until after the next step. Starting with the main bed, begin installing the landscape fabric. Cut it long enough so that it laps over the edges of the bed. Staple in place every few inches. Repeat this process on the rest of the bed areas as well. Once all of the landscape fabric is installed, begin installing the cedar trim boards, securing them with the short screws. Once all the trim is in place, fill the beds with garden soil and install the fountain. Then, you guessed it, it's time to start growing and growing and growing.